Johnson heads to the bucket. Layup. Johnson, good!
All right, welcome back, everybody. Right here, it's Talkin' Sports with Chris Powers here on Pelican Sports TV. Marty, thanks for a TJ. Oh, man. Hey, good to have you with us. Whether you're watching us on Cox Cable, we're in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette, also in Morgan City, parts of Livingston Parish as well. We're on 5 times a week, at Tuesdays at 11 a.m., Thursdays at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., Fridays at 9 p.m., and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. We're seeing almost 2 million households in those metro area markets on Cox Cable. You can also see us on the Pelican Sports app and the YouTube channel as well. Lots to talk to you about today. I'm going to tell you how to get to the Strawberry Festival the back way. If you're coming from New Orleans, Baton Rouge, or Lafayette, or whatever, I'm going to tell you how to get in that back way if you're going to Ponchatoula for the Strawberry Festival, one of the biggest festivals in the South, period. Also, we're going to talk about baseball all around the state. The UL Raging Cajuns doing well, Southern University. We'll talk about men's basketball to the Final Four. We'll talk about the women's Final Four, and we'll also talk about the Pelicans today. But we'll start it off right here with the LSU baseball team. And it's like, whoa, what in the world is going on here? The baseball team is suffering massively right now. This is SEC-only stats. They're batting only .248 on the year in SEC play. They've struck out 119 times. It absolutely aggravates me to watch them take the first strike go by, and after that, they'll watch the second strike go by. Come on, guys. Like I said, I've told this story before. When I played, I was a 2-time MVP for the league, and I had a coach that says, take the first strike. Don't swing at anything until after the first strike. And you sit there and you wait. I hated that. But I did it because that's what he said. That was his team. And then after that, it's enjoy yourself. Knock it out. For them to sit there and watch pitches go down the middle of the plate, and then now you have to defend the plate because anything on the outside corner or inside corner or anything near the strike zone is out. You could get called strikeout depending on where that umpire's strike zone is. Their pitching is really bad right now. They had a 7.62 ERA, near the bottom of the list for the SEC teams. They've thrown 59 base on balls. They've given up 97 runs with 88 earned, and that again is in SEC play only. These stats are in SEC play. They are 3-9 in the SEC and 21-12 overall. Now, right now, as of today, they're 46 in the RPI ratings. They dropped 12 spots this week. So that means right now, if the NCAA tournament would be right now, they'd be probably barely in, maybe, but not hosting an NCAA tournament. There's still hopes for them to get an NCAA tournament because they have 6 series left, and 3 of those series, they're ranked teams they'll play. But the other ones are not. So that's not going to help their RPI at all. And that's what hurts right there in that deal. So do they have a shot of making the NCAA tournament, of hosting an NCAA tournament? Possibly. By winning the rest of their games by a good margin, by winning the series, and going to the SEC and winning the SEC tournament baseball. But right now, their chance of making the NCAA tournament are pretty slim. Chance of hosting it are slim. I think their chance of hosting a super regional is gone. They got to finish in the top 8 for that. They're not going to do a super regional. Super regional will not be in Baton Rouge this year. Get ready. And more than likely, if they make the NCAA tournament, they're going to be traveling. They're going to be on the road. That's the bottom line. That's the way it is. The Tigers, here's a big part that they're having problems with. They're 0-4 in game 3s of the season. And so far, their four games that they've had, the 4 series they've had, they're 0-4 in the third game. They're being outscored in the third game, 47-15. 47-15. They've been 10-run ruled 3 out of those last 4 games. That is not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. And Jay Johnson talked to the media after the game at Vanderbilt on Saturday It was Aaron Baton Rouge, and this is what he had to say in that press conference.
I mean, they have to answer the competitive level question today. I mean, we got completely just beat on the field. I mean, Holton, pretty good. Like, that's, Caglione, Smith in terms of how he executed in the game today. And offensively, we didn't get one scoreless inning. So I think that kind of speaks for itself. So defense, not very good. Not a good day. And they beat us up pretty good.
So you thought your guys competed today?
No, I know them. I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay.
They have to answer that question individually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted
Yeah. No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to answer that question. That's for each of them individually to answer.
All right, so there you go. Jay Johnson. Now, usually coaches, especially Jay Johnson, doesn't put their dirty laundry in front of the media. They're going to tell that to their team. But he's told his team that. That's the Jim Mora way of saying playoffs. Playoffs? When he put Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts under the bus in Indianapolis when he was there. This is Jay Johnson's way of saying, I'm not answering their competitive spirit, their competitive level. They got to answer that. So that's him telling his team. Now, that made it all over the news. That made it in the newspapers and on TV and made it on this show. That's telling them, I've had enough. I've had enough. What more can I do? I have had enough. On paper, this team was loaded. Absolutely loaded. 21 players returning. Now, only one starter. One started in that third base, Tommy Tanks. And they were the third best recruiting in the country. They're loaded. But LSU seems to be falling down that same role as Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Now, we know about the competitiveness of college baseball now, and that it's very hard to repeat as national champions. The last time that happened was South Carolina did it way back in, 2010, 2011? So we understand that. But the way they fell off, Mississippi State won it 3 years ago, and they went 9-21 in the SEC in 2022 and 2023. This year, they're 6-6. They still haven't recovered. Ole Miss won 2 years ago, and they went 6-24 in 2023, and they're 3-9 this year. Remember Coach Bianco? Rumors were kind of floating around that he may be going out of Oxford, and then they won in the SEC tournament, and they got to the NCAA tournament as one of the last seeds, and they won the national championship. That kept his job for a little bit. But now, since then, Ole Miss has gone backwards for the second year in a row. Is LSU heading in that same direction? The polls just came out just moments ago, and LSU is out of the top 25, and rightfully so. They don't belong in the top 25 right now. Will they change it around? It's hard to say. Look at their national rankings. Listen to this. They're 115th in the nation in batting average, 115th. They're 37 in home runs per game, so they're not hitting the long ball. They're 207th in doubles per game. They're not getting extra bases because in triples, they're 198th. They're not getting extra bases. All they're getting is singles and what have you. They're 115th in scoring. I can keep going on and on. How about stolen bases? Are they aggressive on the base pass? 156th in stolen bases this year. Not good. I mean, and Jay Johnson knows this team is capable. Jay Johnson knows this team on paper. But that's why coaches will tell you that stats sometimes are for losers. But in most situations they're true, but they don't want to hear that. Because these rankings that I just gave you, the stats, that is a pure signal of how bad they are playing right now. They're playing bad. And they don't lie. The stats don't lie. Like it or not, they don't lie. So with the RPIs, I told you that they're 46th. They have 64 teams that makes the playoffs, that makes the tournament. But you've got a lot of teams that have lower conferences they play in. When they win the tournament, they get to go into the NCAA tournament. So that locks a lot of those up. So then you're looking at an outer bid. And I don't know, guys. Right now, I know LSU wouldn't make it. Now, we still have 6 conference games to go, 6 conference series to go. but time is running out. Next weekend, they will be on halfway mark. So after these games we play at Tennessee this week, they'll be at the halfway mark. And they do play at Tennessee. Tennessee is ranked in the top 5. They did win the series this weekend against Auburn, but they're only 7-5 in SEC play. So there's a chance. I mean, you know, the teams are struggling, except for Arkansas. All the big teams that are ranked high, they're like Tennessee at number 4. They're 7-5. But Tennessee is 21-2 at home, and that's where LSU plays at Knoxville. They go to Knoxville, and the Tennessee Volunteers are 21-2 at home. Can LSU turn this around? It's going to be hard I'm telling you, it's going to be hard, guys. It's going to be hard. They've got to be able to know they got to win. So what Jay Johnson does is take their cell phones away. When they get to the field house, take your cell phones, put it away. You got to concentrate on baseball. But then after you look at that, then they've got all kind of stuff to play in their facilities, from table tennis, you know, from this and that and this. There's all kind of video games and what have you. Are you going to take that away too? There's all distractions right here that right now this team is looking like they're doing. I hate to say it. Next year's team will be unbelievable. You're going to lose Tommy Tanks, but other than that, you've got a lot of freshmen on this team and a lot of other players on this team. But right now, this team is not looking good. LSU is just not looking good at all. They played good on Thursday. I watched that game. They won that game. They played good on Friday. They played good. Now, Saturday, I couldn't watch the game because I had to do the play-by-play for Southern game against UAPB, but I didn't get to watch that, but they had a 10-run rule again. 3 out of the 4 series that they've had, they've been 10-run ruled on Game 3. And, you know, it's always been the case. For years, it doesn't matter who's the coach or who's playing. LSU, for some reason, on Game 3s, on Sunday games really, usually, they don't play well. They just don't. That's been the Burtman days. That's been the Coach Palmineri days. They don't play well on Sundays, Game 3s. But for turn this around, if they want to make the NCAA tournament, and they still have time to do it, but very little, like I said, 3 conference opponents are ranked. That's it. That's it, 3 conference opponents. And I don't know if they play UL Lafayette again, and the reason I say that is because UL Lafayette is now 19th. They made it 19th. They're in the polls today. They're 19th in the polls. They've won 15 straight games in a row. So they don't have many games that are ranked coming up. The only chance they get a chance to have ranked games is when they play in the SEC tournament. But the way they're playing, they won't make the tournament. They have to turn things around and do it now. We've been saying that for, 2-3 weeks now? It's got to come to a head right now. And if they don't, can you imagine LSU not being in postseason after they win a national championship, after that magical run they did last year? Well, like it or not, they're heading in that direction. When we come back, we've got other schools around the nation that are doing well in college baseball and softball. We'll talk about that when we come back right after this. It's Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the natty package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10. Are you ready for the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival? Friday, April 12th through Sunday, April 14th, with live music from Lindsay Cardinelli, the Dominoes, Nashville South, Clay Cormier, and lots more. The parade is on Saturday, April 13th at 9:30 a.m. Get involved in the egg toss and the always popular strawberry eating contest. A huge midway offering tons of rides for all ages. And of course, get the best strawberries in the world grown by local farmers. The biggest festival in the South, the 52nd annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, April 12th through 14th, inside Memorial Park. We'll see you there. All right, welcome back, everybody, here talking sports with me, Chris Powers, here on Pelican Sports TV. Oh, it's going to be fun this weekend, the Strawberry Festival, 52nd Annual Strawberry Festival in Ponchatoula, Louisiana. We'll give you details on how you can get there coming up here later on in the show. How about the Ragin' Cajuns? University of Louisiana and the Ragin' Cajuns right now, 19th in the nation. The poll came out this morning, and they are the 19th team of the nation. They've won 15 in a row and are 24-8 on the season, and they're first place in the Sun Belt Conference at 11-1. They're batting .296, which is 58th in the nation. So as a team, they're batting .296, almost 300. They still have work to do, though. They're 48th in the RPI, and the reason they're low in the RPI is because of the Sun Belt's not a powerhouse conference. Southern Mississippi, I believe, is 44th, which means that they still can take the series with Southern Miss because they play later on this year. And Southern Miss always makes the tournament. In fact, Southern Miss usually hosts a tournament. This year, they're not as good as they usually are, but they're still 44th in the RPI. So if UL Lafayette takes that series or sweeps them, they could move up just a little bit, maybe in the top upper 30s. Also, they play Coastal Carolina, which is, I think, ranked at 49th or somewhere in that area. I think they're 49th. I think they're right after UL Lafayette. So, and they still play Coastal Carolina coming up as well. Now, what's been big for them has been their pitching. They're seventh best pitching staff in the nation. UL Ragin' Cajuns are at a 3.57 ERA right now. 3.57. That's seventh best in the nation right now. That's good. So if the Ragin' Cajuns could keep going on, who knows? They could be in the not only the NCAA tournament, they'll win the Sun Belt. If that's the case, they'll be good. I mean, Southern Mississippi won't give it to them, or neither will Coastal Carolina. But if UL Lafayette continues to do well, they'll be in the NCAA tournament. Maybe an outer bid, maybe, if they don't win the tournament title. But they're going to have to work really hard for that to happen because, again, RPI in the Sun Belt is not as strong as they were. The Southern University Jaguars won 9 of 10 overall and 5 in a row going into their game this past weekend. And in the SWAC, they won 8 games in a row. They beat LSU. That was a big thing. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But they got beat by UAPB, that's University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, and the Golden Lions this weekend. The Golden Lions outscored them 39-27. 39 runs in 3 games, and it was at home in Baton Rouge. The Lions were 2-8 coming into this weekend here in Baton Rouge. 2-8. Now, they're 4-9. As Southern University was 7-1 going in, now they dropped to 7-3. Grambling is 8-1. They're number 1 right now in the SWAC West, and they have to play at Grambling this weekend. So Southern's got work to do. After that big game against LSU, I mean, first of all, they beat LSU for only the 4th time in program history. The last time they won at LSU was 2005. The last time they beat LSU was 2019. That happened at Lee Hines Stadium, which is right there at Southern University. And they were so confident after that. I read an AP poll went national that win over LSU, the defending national champions, spoke volumes for HBCU baseball because right now there are not enough African Americans that are playing. There's a lot of Dominican Republican players, Latino players, Cuban players, but not enough African Americans like there used to be. Roger Cater's been fighting for that for years. Well, we'll see what happens with that. But once again, now Southern, after beating LSU and winning all of those games in a row, now they've got to get back on pace, and they've got a tough Grambling game at Grambling, by the way. They'll play Grambling here in Baton Rouge again. That's to the end of the season. It'll be senior night here at Baton Rouge at Lee Hines Field. But they go to Grambling this weekend, and Grambling, like I mentioned, has only lost 1 game in conference, or 8-1 in conference play. LSU softball got a big win this weekend by beating number 10 Florida yesterday. LSU was number 7 in the nation going into this past weekend. And this show is being taped on a Monday. They play tonight, try to take that series. Florida's ranked number 10 in the nation. LSU's ranked number 7 in the ESPN polls. So hopefully things will happen. Beth Torina said to the media that she's having problems. They had to adjust life without coffee. That's the main thing, life without coffee. And the reason why it's so big, the third baseman, because she led the batting order for so many years. Now she's not there. They had to switch up. Okay, are you going to be a good leadoff batter? No. This one's not. No. This one's not. No. They went down to their last out yesterday. Their last out. And they tied the game up at 3, then took the lead at 4-3, wins the ball game. Final score was at 5-4. Congratulations, LSU, on a big win, and they'll try to win that 3-game series coming up again, of course, tonight. And LSU looks like they're still very good. It looks like they're on pace to host an NCAA regional and super regional and possibly go to Oklahoma. They're that good. And I think they'll be better and better and better. Their pitching looks good. Their hitting looks good. Their fielding looks good. They're at 997 in fielding. So they're doing a good job not having a lot of errors, not committing a lot of errors, and that's key. They're aggressive on the base pass. They're doing everything they need to. So Coach Beth Torina and her staff are doing a tremendous job right now when it comes to playing this year. And it looks like LSU Lady Tigers, senior-laden team, is really in line to be right where they need to be. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk National Anthem, Final Four, and a big news story came over today. We'll tell you about that when we come back right after this. It's Talking Sports here with Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV. Are you ready for the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival? Friday, April 12th through Sunday, April 14th, with live music from Lindsay Cardinelli, The Dominoes, Nashville South, Clay Cormier, and lots more. The parade is on Saturday, April 13th at 9:30 a.m. Get involved in the egg toss and the always popular strawberry eating contest. A huge midway offering tons of rides for all ages. And of course, get the best strawberries in the world grown by local farmers. The biggest festival in the South, the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, April 12th through 14th, inside Memorial Park. We'll see you there.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadia and I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10. Chris Powers, and we're talking sports here on Pelican Sports TV. All right, so I was working in country radio when the Dixie Chicks went to England, and they criticized President Bush and says, we don't appreciate Bush either. We banned them from the radio station right after that happened. So that was the first time I remember cancel culture happening. So with that, a few years later, I had a program director say, Chris, play this Dixie Chick song and just see how it goes over. I got phone calls for days on that. No, Dixie Chicks were permanently canceled. Their careers have never been the same. Robert De Niro, one of my favorite actors. Love Robert De Niro. So what did he do? He said that he would punch Donald Trump as president in the face. Disrespected the president. Bye. Gone. George Lopez, great stand-up comedian, had a sitcom on TV, loved it. He acted like he was peeing on right there on the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for Donald Trump. Done. I'm not doing it. So the national media got after LSU and the fans went crazy on it. I put it on social media big time and defended LSU because of the national anthem. They went nuts because LSU left before the national anthem happened. So let me tell you what happens. Here is the bottom line. I'm going to clear it up right now. Here's what happens in a college basketball game. So they come out, they start shooting, and then they go back in. And then they come out and start shooting again. Well, at the 12-minute mark or the 10-minute mark, a horn will sound off, and all the teams are to clear the court. That's for any kind of competition as far as fans go. That is for announcements for sponsors, and that's for the national anthem. It happens everywhere. 12 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on what school it is. And all schools are out. And that's happened for LSU forever. LSU football has never been out for the national anthem, ever. The band plays an alma mater, and they play the national anthem, and then they come out of the tunnel after that. That's just the way it is. Let me tell you, my son is a United States Marine, and he's a sergeant in the Marine Corps. He's in Quantico, Virginia right now in the Marine Corps. Okay? I was patriotic before he went into the Marines. I don't believe in sitting and kneeling down for the national anthem. I don't believe in sitting. I don't believe in kneeling for the national anthem. I think you should stand. But because this is a free country, you have a right to do what you want to do. I'm not going to go tell you what's different. I'm not going to tell you you're doing wrong, and I'm ticked off that you're doing that. But I don't respect you because you're not disrespecting this flag. And it doesn't matter what nationality, what religion, or what race you are. Because every one of those three that I just mentioned have fought at one point in time for this country. And they fought to keep that flag up in the air. So they fought for that flag. You respect that flag. If you've got another problem, you handle it another way. I don't believe in burning the flag at all. I never did. I don't believe in it. So athletic director Scott Woodward and Brian Kelly, the head football coach, has come out with a comment saying that if it happens, they will come out before the national anthem. And that's because of the governor, Jeff Landry, coming out with a statement going on Fox News and saying that, look, I want everybody to be out for the national anthem from now on, or are you going to lose scholarships? Governor Landry, you need to fire your PR team. You need to fire whoever who is giving you some insights, because you're totally off base on this. I'm a fan of yours. I've met you several times. You've got so much stuff going on in this state, the last thing you need to know and worry about is someone standing for the national anthem, or if the teams are coming out for the national anthem. My son does not give a hoot. His job's not going to change if you're not standing for the national anthem. That's your choice. He don't agree with it, and I don't agree with it. So as far as I'm concerned, the only time you see the teams out for the national anthem is a national championship game, like yesterday for the women's national championship game, because there's usually somebody performing live, like at LSU's national championship game in 2019 at the Superdome. Somebody was performing live right there. So again, I'm not big on the teams being out there for the national anthem. I'm not. But it looks like the way that Woodward and Brian Kelly mentioned something this week, I got a feeling that's about to change. I got a feeling that the football is about to come out for the national anthem, and I got a feeling that basketball will be too. I'd rather them not coming out. You know why? Because I don't want to see a player kneeling down that I respect. I don't want to see a player kneeling down, because then I won't have respect for him. I'd rather you stay in the locker room, don't come out. I'm going to stand for the national anthem. The only time I don't is if I'm on the air live and I can't stand because I'm reading stats and what have you, and it's because I got a short window to do it in. The criticism of Coach Mulkey this week on this national anthem and other things, how she treats her players, is horrible. And I agree with Scott Rabelais from the Baton Rouge Advocate, who wrote on that and said the criticism is wrong and she needs to be apologized. They need to apologize to her, and they do. For her being hard on her players, that's the kind of soft society we live in today. That's the way it is. We live in a very soft society, period, bottom line. We can't be the Bill Parcells or the Bobby Knights or anything like that anymore. Oh, no, Sean Payton yelled at Russell Wilson on the sideline. It made national news everywhere, and everybody was criticizing him for that. You're forgetting why you play the game. Your coach is the one that makes the decision. It's his team. Like I said, my coach could yell at me at any sport I played, and I had to listen to him because that's his team. And I'm listening to him. He's running the show. I'm doing this, and he is running the team. And so is Kim Mulkey. I don't want Kim Mulkey going nowhere. I love her to death, always have. I think she's one of the best coaches in all of college basketball history. She's won 4 national championships. She's a Louisiana native. She's won 1 million championships playing and coaching. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Kim Mulkey is unbelievable for not only the state, but for LSU. But if they keep criticizing her and keep getting on her and wearing on her, her career that she thought maybe stay 8, 9 more years will be probably shortened because of that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that she's tired of it. She's sick and tired of it. All right, news breaking today. John Calipari, the Kentucky Wildcat coach, is going to Arkansas. They're working on a 5-year deal right now, and this is just about a done deal. Calipari is getting so much criticism at Kentucky, it's not even funny. I always say he's overrated. Yeah, he's a good coach. He's won 76% of his games in all of his career. He's taken UMass to the Final Four. He took Memphis to the Final Four and in the national championship in an overtime game. And also he's took Kentucky 4 out of his first 6 years to the Final Four. He's a good coach, but he has 1 national title. He's not in the Coach K, or Coach Self, or any one of those major coaches that Bobby Knight, who's won multiple national championships. He's not in that. He's won 1 national championship. Now, they will be off $33 million because if he got fired from Kentucky, they would owe him $33 million. That's what Marty makes here, $33 million. But since he's going to Arkansas on his own, he'll get a 5-year deal less than what he's getting at Kentucky, which is $8.5 million a season. But it's because of the pressure. At Kentucky, you're expected to win national championships. He's just not doing it. He's been one and done in the NCAA tournament for the last 2 years. He's got to go. He's got to go. They don't want him there. Now, the question is who Kentucky will get. I don't know. And he's a great recruiter. That's huge for Arkansas, though. I kind of wish he would have went somewhere outside of the SEC. But he stays in the SEC, and he's going to Arkansas. That deal is just about done. By the time you're watching this show, it probably will be done. The national championship game is tonight, as Purdue will take on the UConn Huskies. And UConn is favored by 7.5 points. But so many of you said that UConn is untouchable, that UConn is just a steamrolling team. But UConn had to use a lot, let's say over 3/4, right at 3/4 of the game to pull away from Alabama. Alabama stayed with them pretty tough. And UConn pulled away at the end, was just killing it by the end of the game, and they win the ball game. And UConn has a chance to go back-to-back national championships when they win tonight, Purdue. Now, these two teams are playing, Purdue and UConn, are the 2 best teams in college basketball going in. North Carolina could have made a point that they have maybe the 3rd or maybe the 2nd best roster, but they didn't make it. They were eliminated, of course, as you know. So it should be a great game tonight with UConn taking on Purdue in the national championship. Fans have had it with NFL stadiums for the Final Four. They've had it. Here's a picture of the Final Four from the top seat in Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona right now at Sun Devil Stadium, or it's called State Farm Stadium now. Take a look at this picture. Now let me ask yourself, would you go from UConn or leave from Purdue and pay the airfare flights, hotel accommodations, food, and tickets, $1,400 a ticket, to sit in this seat right here to watch that game? Are you kidding me? You could barely see the court, much less than players. Did that guy just score? Did he miss it? No, it's an air ball. I mean, to tell you, you have to bring binoculars, and you still couldn't see. That's unbelievable. But I got news for you. For all of you people that are upset by it, NCAA is never going to change it. They're not. For the next few years, they're going to be in NFL stadiums because you keep buying tickets. These tickets right here, one of the expensive tickets in the Final Four in recent years in Phoenix. And I'll tell you this, also in New Orleans was expensive because remember we had an unbelievable Final Four. Last year in Houston, they were going for less than $100 a ticket because they couldn't get anybody to go to the games. But now in this game in Phoenix, it seems to be pretty big. Tonight you'll see people everywhere. I don't see an empty seat anywhere. So as long as people are still going to these stadiums, you're going to get Final Fours in these NFL-style stadiums. All right, now to the women's side. South Carolina won their third national championship yesterday. They are the 10th team to finish undefeated on the season. Now, a lot of people are saying Clark's getting special treatment, or was getting special treatment. Even Angel Reese went on social media and said, I already know what's going to happen at halftime. I already know what's going to happen. They're wanting Caitlin Clark to win. Well, that's the fans' way of talking, and it's amazing that people play the game and see that. I did see a push-off that Caitlin Clark did. They didn't call it. I was kind of shocked on that. They should have called that foul. It was right in front of the referee, and it was blatant. There was no question about that. But everybody's going nuts over the semifinal game when UConn played against Iowa. And they went nuts over this play right here. Let's take a look at it right now. This is from ESPN. We're going to even slow it down. Here it is right here, and here's the illegal screen right there. And watch it in slow motion. They're going to show it again in slow motion. There's Coach G. He is upset. Gino is upset. One play with less than 10 seconds left. Now watch it right here. Bam! Guess what? That's a foul. That's a foul. So many people are going nuts, and I know Alan was talking about it. Jonathan was talking about it just a minute ago. No, you can't call that way. I'll ask you to go back, Alan. Let you go back to the Rams and New Orleans Saints game when it was a no call for that personal foul, or for that pass interference. There should have been a foul there. And I know people are going nuts over it. Let the players come up with it. I understand that. I know. But guess what? A foul's a foul, whether it's 9 seconds in the game or 8 seconds in the game. It's a foul. And like I said, look, I haven't watched as much NFL football since that Saints-Rams game. When they had that no call, I haven't watched much games because that ticked me off so much where, man, for the Super Bowl, I went watch movies all day that year. And that was when New England Patriots beat the Rams in Atlanta in the most boringest Super Bowl I ever saw. It's absolutely horrible. You have to make those calls. And I know what everybody's thinking. They wanted Iowa to be there, and that may be the case. Who knows? I don't agree with some of the things that's going on now. I believe that, so many times that I'm wondering if that was a betting deal that happened. But in that one right there, there's no question in my mind that was an illegal screen. And I'm sorry, you got to make the call. You got to make the call. You got to make the call. The ratings should surpass last year's national championship. Now, it'll come out sometime probably today, but let's look at it. The main reason why was Caitlin Clark. Now with Caitlin Clark going to the WNBA, will there be as many people watching it now next year? I will say this. We're starting to see more and more players shooting the ball better than we've had in the past. From UConn, from also USC, the list goes on and on. So they're starting to be better, and it's because of Caitlin Clark, all the attention Caitlin Clark has got. So that means I'm going to stay my butt in the gym, and I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to become a better shooter. Word is that Caitlin Clark took 500 shots before every game. 500. Not during that day, but over the period of time from like a Tuesday to a Saturday, she took 500 shots practice every single week before every game. And you look at it, she was. And one of the reasons why South Carolina won that game yesterday, because Caitlin Clark was off in the second half. It wasn't because of who was guarding her. You've seen open shots from her, and she was missing those open shots. She usually steps back and makes those three-pointers. She did not shoot well yesterday in the second half. First half, she did great. I think she had 15 of the first 20 points that Iowa had, and they looked great. But guess what? Guess what the problem was that Iowa did? Iowa started missing a little bit of the outside shots, so they took it inside. And they were trying to lay up on the big players from South Carolina. You can't play their style game, and South Carolina got back in the game after that. Then they wanted to go back outside, and then they started missing outside shots. So they played right into South Carolina's hands. And I'm going to tell you that right now. Like it or not, Coach Staley, she is a very good coach. She's won 3 national championships. 3. She is unbelievable. So Caitlin Clark disagreed with Coach Staley during the press conferences leading up to that game. This was the day before the game. Coach Staley said for Caitlin Clark to be known as the greatest player ever in this sport, she's got to win the national championship. Caitlin Clark disagreed. I'm on the fence on that, but I'd say I'd have to agree with Coach Staley. Coach Staley said, look, I had a great career. I did. I had a great career. And I'm not listed as one of the great players. Nobody talks about my playing days. Now, coaches, she'll be listed as one of the players because she's won 3 national championships. Caitlin Clark is 0-2 in the finals now, 2 years in a row. So what I tell Caitlin Clark, go ask the National Football League. Joe Montana, everybody talks about how Joe Montana was the greatest. He's 4-0 in the Super Bowls, didn't throw an interception in the Super Bowls, was 22 touchdowns and no interceptions. Unbelievable. He's won 4 Super Bowls. When you go ask Joe, go ask him. Joe Montana, who's the best quarterback you've ever seen play? He'll tell you Dan Marino. But Dan Marino's never won a Super Bowl, been to one, but never won. He's first year, but he never won a Super Bowl, and no one talks about Dan Marino being the best player ever. He had one of the strongest arms. He had one of the best accuracies. He could put the ball right on the money at 100 miles an hour, but did not win a Super Bowl. And no one considers him one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. Not even close. Not even close. If Drew Brees would have not won one, he wouldn't have been there. Aaron Rodgers won 1 Super Bowl. Brett Favre won 1. He'd been to 2. He won 1 and lost the other one. And tell me about Brett Favre. You know the difference between Brett Favre? Everyone says who threw the hardest? Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers throws it far, but the hardest football came from that guy from Mississippi, Brett Favre. Every one of his receivers had broken knuckles. They couldn't put their Super Bowl rings on. Freeman, all of them. Every one of those receivers he had, they couldn't put their Super Bowl rings on because he broke their knuckles. Now you tell me he didn't throw hard. You tell me that's not hard. So unfortunately, even though she's got the scoring record, I don't know if anybody will break it. Part of me thinks that Caitlin Clark will be listed as one of the greatest, but in another way, because she didn't win the championship, she won't. So I'm kind of iffy on that because, like I said, in other sports, Charles Barkley, good player, didn't win. Mailman Malone, second best scorer for years in the NBA, right behind Kareem, not listed as one of the best because he lost in the 2 years that they played against the Chicago Bulls for the Utah Jazz. And I loved Karl Malone. I thought he had a great player. A big man like that with a great soft touch like he had was unbelievable. But that's the way it goes. It's amazing how the society works. If you don't win a championship, you're not listed as one of the great players. That's just the bottom line. And half the time, you don't make it into the Hall of Fame. Now, Dan Marino is in the Hall of Fame, and he deserves to be. Will Caitlin Clark be known as one of the greatest players in college women's basketball history? I think she will, especially for the long time. But overall, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, maybe not. Maybe not. We'll see. All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Pelicans. Ooh, they got work to do. Oh, they got to get the elbow grease out. They got some work to do. We'll talk about their chances of making the playoffs coming up right after we continue with Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers, right after this time out on Pelican Sports TV.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10. Are you ready for the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival? Friday, April 12th through Sunday, April 14th, with live music from Lindsay Cardinelli, The Dominoes, Nashville South, Clay Cormier, and lots more. The parade is on Saturday, April 13th at 9:30 a.m. Get involved in the egg toss and the always popular strawberry eating contest. A huge midway offering tons of rides for all ages. And of course, get the best strawberries in the world grown by local farmers. The biggest festival in the South, the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, April 12th through 14th, inside Memorial Park. We'll see you there.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as we continue to talk sports right here on Pelican Sports TV. I'm Chris Powers, and again, whether you're watching us on Cox Cable, seen in over 2 million households in the New Orleans, 89% of the New Orleans metro area sees Cox Cable, watches Cox Cable, over almost 400,000 in Baton Rouge and 140,000 in the Lafayette area, plus we're seen in Morgan City and in parts of Livingston Parish as well. You're downloading the app. You can listen to us and watch us there, and also on the YouTube channel as well. We're seen 5 times a week, Tuesdays at 11 a.m., Thursdays at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Now, let me tell you about if you're coming from Baton Rouge or Lafayette and you're going to the Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, let me tell you how to get there. Go straight down I-12, head eastbound on I-12, okay? And you're going to pass the I-55 exit. That's to go to New Orleans South or Ponchatoula. Don't take that exit. Go the next exit. The very next exit is going to be where you see the mall on the left here, and they're in Hammond. Don't take that exit either, because, or actually, no, do take that exit. Now, I'll tell you why. Because the exit after that is closed off. So take the exit that you see, hospital exit on the right, and also you see the mall on the left. You go down the exit ramp, take a right, and go down that road, and you're going to hit 22, Highway 22. When you take Highway 22, take a left, and that'll take you into the town of Ponchatoula. That'll take you the back way. Because if you go I-55 and go on 22 that way from I-55, you're going to be stuck in a log jam of traffic like you would not believe. It's absolutely horrible, okay? So if you're coming from the New Orleans area, maybe go with the twin spans, go towards Slidell, or better way, here's the better way. Go I-55, Causeway. Go the Causeway. Go the Causeway, get to 22, and in 22, go all the way that way. You're going the back way. That's the best way to get there. I'd love to tell you the airport exit, the airport road. The problem is that they've got construction and the bridge is out. But if you're coming from the Causeway and you're coming from the New Orleans area and go down the Causeway, you're coming in 22 and you're coming the back way, it's the best way. If you've never been to the Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, you're in for a treat. They have the very best strawberries right there. All the strawberry farmers are there with all their strawberries on display. They're flats of strawberries, and the strawberries are that big, and they're not tart at all. A little tart, but mainly sweet, and they're unbelievably juicy. It's the best strawberries you ever had in your life. Plus, they got the strawberry jams, the strawberry jellies, and here's the big one. I know, Alan, you'd go nuts over this one. The strawberry daiquiris. Oh, my friend Paul Cafe, Mr. Paul and his family does the strawberry daiquiris over there, and it got 1 million seeds, Marty, down at the bottom of those things. You ought to see that. You get a big plastic cup like that, and the strawberry. They got New Orleans rum. Oh, are you telling me? Plus all the different. They've got live bands there. They've got the best foods in the world. All kinds of great stuff there. It's all of the Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, 52nd annual. It's this weekend in Ponchatoula on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Go by and check that out. It's great. You'll love it. All right, the Pelicans right now, the New Orleans Pelicans are 7th in the West. They are tied right now with the Phoenix Suns, but because the Phoenix beat us 2 out of 3 times, they don't have the tiebreaker over the Phoenix Suns, even though we're tied with their record. But right now, the Pelicans did it to themselves. They're 4-6 in the last 10 games. 4-6. And their defense is a major concern, especially against the threes. Now, as we mentioned, they're tied right now with the Suns. They're 2 games behind the Mavericks with only 4 games left to play. That's going to be tough to catch the Mavericks for that 5th spot. They have to hope for that 6th spot. If they can get the 6th spot, they might be in better shape. In the last 10 games, they have the 2nd worst defense in the last 10 games, allowing opponents 48% shooting. That's in the last 10 games. Their defense against Booker was good yesterday, finally. He only got 25 points because the last 2 games, he had 52 points in each of those other games. 104 points in 2 games? Are you kidding me? Booker killed the New Orleans Pelicans. killed them. But they played better defense last night, and Zion Williamson came back, and hopefully Ingram will be back before the playoffs. And by the way, the season ends this Sunday. We had 4 games left. The season ends this Sunday in New Orleans. That's it. After that, so we'll know by next week's show if they're in the play-in game, which will start the next day on that Tuesday, or if they're playing, of course, in the regular playoffs and get some time off to heal before the play-in tournament starts. The best out of 3. So with that, they're 4-6 in the last 10 games. Now, for their last 4 games, the Pelicans will be at Portland. Okay, great. Trailblazers are horrible this year. We go to Portland. We should be able to win that game. That's tomorrow night. But then the rest of the games are tough. They got all 3 of their next opponents are underneath them trying to get better their position in the playoffs too, like the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento's right behind them. Golden State Warriors also right behind them. And our final game will be at home against the Los Angeles Lakers. That's our last 4 games. So now you want to ask what the Suns have for the last 4 games? A tough schedule. A massively tough schedule. They got to play the Clippers twice. They play them, first of all, tomorrow night. They're going to play them at Phoenix. And then 2 days later, they go to Los Angeles to play the Clippers again. NBA has done that a lot over the last couple of years where the teams will play each other one after another. One at home, one on the road. Kind of like a playoff scenario kind of deal, but that's the way the scheduling goes. So the Suns will have to go to the Clippers twice. Then they got to play Sacramento and the Kings, and that'll be in Sacramento. And then their final game will be against the Minnesota Timberwolves, which is number 1 in the West right now. So the Suns have a pretty tough task right now. They have a tough way. So it'll be interesting to see, again, and their shooting is not bad. New Orleans' shooting percentage is not bad. Their threes are not bad. McCollum and all of them doing a great job from threes. And their inside work is not bad either. It's their defense. And mainly the defense against the threes is what I'm worried about. They got a lot of opponents had wide open 3-point shots to win games, like an Oklahoma City Thunder game. The only thing this team is missing is defense. Everything else is good. You got 3 players that for the most of this year average over 20 points per ball game. 3. Ingram, McCollum, and, of course, Zion Williamson. But they're just missing something to get them to beat those upper-tier teams. And that's what bothers me about this team of getting past maybe the first round or even the second round or making it to the West Coast Finals. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I just don't know. That'll be interesting to see. I was at Southern University this past weekend. As I mentioned, I did a play-by-play on the radio for them, and everybody was so excited to see that, even though that UAPB really knocked them out this weekend. The team came in at 2-8 on the season, and they came in. But everybody was so interested, so beating LSU. Like I said, it's the 4th time they beat LSU in their career. The thing is, though, LSU was the defending national champions, and they were ranked 18th at the time that Southern played them, even though now LSU's out of the top 25, but they were 18th. The people at Southern University were going great. I read an AP article on how big that was for HBCU sports to win that game, to get the African-American, I guess, people want to play the game because it seems like the players are not playing the game. So if I had a choice to pick between football and baseball, like a couple of players have over the years, I think I would choose baseball. Yeah, you know why? You play longer. You play longer in baseball. And number 2, guaranteed contracts. You don't have that in the National Football League. Like say, you can sign a $25 million contract for the NFL, and $13 million of it is guaranteed. Joey Bell, Albert Bell, whoever you want to call him now, former LSU player, he's still getting a paycheck. He's still getting a paycheck today for Major League Baseball. Last year, Ken Griffey Jr. was the 3rd highest paid player on the St. Louis Cardinals staff. 3rd highest. So if they sign you to a $50 million or $75 million contract, you're still going to get that $75 million. Whether you quit or not, you could sign that contract and do what Marty does. 1 year, I'm done. Bye. Sorry. Don't want to play no more. You still get that $75 million contract for the rest of your life. Not bad, huh? You and I are in the wrong business. We should be making money like Allen makes. Unbelievable, though. But that's what I'm saying. So if I had a choice to pick, it's less on your body wear and tear. A lot of people think now, I never played organized basketball. I played organized football and baseball. And basketball, I played with my buddies. We'd go to the Y. We'd go to all these gyms. And we'd play and all that stuff. I got more injuries in basketball. That's where I have my anterior cruciate ligament. I have to rebuilt. Rebuilt because I was slamming a 9-foot goal, and I was slamming it all day long. But a girl walked by the yard, trying to impress her with a double slam, ripped my knee to shreds. My ankle hit my ear. That's how much it hyperextended. And that was it. Football for me was done. It was done. They told me I'd never play football ever again. Back in 1990, that's what happened. You're done. So basketball and football to me are hard sports. I've seen it. I've been on the bottom of a pile when I was on top of a guy, and I heard his arm break right on the spot. Sounded like a twig breaking. Had a compound fracture, his bone coming out of his arm. It's horrible. But in baseball, come on, least amount of sport. One baseball player said making him run laps. I'm not an athlete. I'm a baseball player. That's the way it is. Volleyball would be tough too. Your daughter Marty plays volleyball over at Louisiana College in Pineville, Louisiana. Yep. I think they call it something different now, right? It's something Christian.
Louisiana Christian.
Is it Louisiana Christian? Been there. It's a tough. It's one of the hardest GPAs to get into. You got to really have a good grade system to get in there at Louisiana College in Pineville, Louisiana. And but anyway, so that's what I would do if I was to play football or basketball, baseball. I would choose baseball any of the week and twice on Sunday. All right, so that's what we had. We had a busy show today. We're going to talk more coming up, of course, all next week. We've got more things to talk about next week. We'll have the Final Four that goes today. Will LSU ever turn it around in baseball? That's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that Southern Grambling game, which is coming up this next weekend. That's going to be a big game. Grambling, like I said, has only lost one game in the SWAC play this year. Southern now has lost 3. So that's going to be a big one at Grambling State. And their final series they'll play at Southern University. That'll be senior day for Southern University. They'll play that in May. I think it's May 18th, May 17th, 18th, and 19th. And that'll be senior day. And then they go to the SWAC tournament after that in baseball. And that's big for Coach Crenshaw because Coach Crenshaw has 17 new players to go get. He didn't have any new players coming. He had to go get a ton of new players because they had no returning players. He had to go to the transfer portal and big. Nobody thought he would be this good. But he's turned it around big time. And, of course, by beating LSU and them doing well in the SWAC, they got to keep that going if they want to make it to the SWAC tournament and go on from there. So we'll do all that next week right here. I want to thank my great sponsors again, the Strawberry Festival. Go to the Strawberry Festival. It's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere this weekend, one of the biggest festivals in the South, not only in just Louisiana. I'm talking in the South, so understand that. Also, thanks TJ Ribs for being a big sponsor for them. Continuing great sponsor. I had the St. Louis-style ribs last week. They were delicious. And thank Tony Clayton as well. Attorney Tony Clayton, the West Baton Rouge District Attorney. Until next week, I'm Chris Powers saying so long, everybody. We'll see you next week here on Pelican Sports.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson heads to the block.